Sources are revealing a move that could change everything for the Eagles, my friend. An elite receiver, three-time Pro Bowler, over 1,000 yards last season, is nowhere to be found at Jalen Hurts' private workouts. And it's not by accident. What is happening behind the scenes at the Jefferson Health Training Complex has everything to do with a trade that looks more and more inevitable by the day. Stay right here, because this story is going to blow your mind. I'm going to tell you everything. Who's being left out, what Jalen Hurts is doing to prepare, the numbers behind the trade, and what all of this means for the Eagles offense in 2026. But first, if you're a diehard Eagles fan, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because this kind of move is going to define the future of this team for years to come. So let's get into it. According to Jeremy Fowler, ESPN's NFL insider, Jalen Hurts is holding private workouts with his pass catchers this offseason, but one very important name is conspicuously absent from those sessions. The wide receiver being left out is A.J. Brown, and according to Fowler, who spoke on SportsCenter this past Sunday, that is not a coincidence. The message is written between the lines. The Eagles are preparing for a world without their number one receiver of the past several years. The question every Eagles fan is asking right now is this real? And the honest answer, based on everything being reported, is that it looks more real than anyone would like to admit. Fowler was pretty direct in saying that Hurts has been working out with Devonta Smith, who would become the new number one receiver, and with veteran Elijah Moore. Brown, completely absent. And when the reporter was asked about Brown's absence, the response was equally direct. It is understood that Brown will not be on the roster. When an ESPN insider talks like that, you have to take it seriously. But before you go into full panic mode, let's understand the complete context of this situation, because there is a lot more going on beneath the surface than simply the Eagles want to get rid of A.J. Brown. The financial piece is central here, and Howie Roseman, as always, is playing chess with the salary cap. According to Over the Cap, if the Eagles complete the Brown trade before June 1st, the cap impact would be catastrophic. $43.44 million in dead money. You read that right. $43 million in dead cap. That is nearly impossible to absorb without gutting the roster around Jalen Hurts. That is exactly why the timing matters so much. If the trade happens after June 1st, the picture changes completely. The savings for the Eagles would be $7.04 million in cap space, with only $16.35 million in dead money. Still a significant number, but manageable within an operation as sophisticated as Roseman's. That is why everything points to a post-June 1st trade, with the New England Patriots reportedly as the likely destination. That has been widely reported, and Hurts' workouts seem to confirm that is the direction the organization is heading. The real question then becomes, who is Devonta Smith, and can he carry the weight of being the Eagles' true number one receiver? Let's look at the numbers because they tell a very interesting story. Last season, Smith led the team in receiving yards with 1,008 in 17 games. For comparison, Brown finished second with 1,003 yards, but in only 15 games. So both players arrived at roughly the same production level, but through very different paths. Brown also had more touchdowns, with 7 compared to Smith's 4. But Smith's ability to play all 17 games, to be consistent week in and week out, is a strong argument for those who believe he can step into the leadership role. And that is exactly what Hurts seems to be betting on. Taking a step back to understand the relationship between these two players, Hurts and Smith have a connection that goes well beyond the football field. The two were teammates at the University of Alabama, they played together before reaching the NFL, and they built a chemistry that does not develop overnight. When Fowler says Smith will be the new number one, he is talking about a player Hurts knows inside and out. The roots, the habits, the nuances of how Smith creates separation against cornerbacks. That familiarity is a real asset in a transition year for the Eagles' offense. In addition to Smith, Hurts is also working with Elijah Moore, the veteran who arrives as a new addition to the receiver group. Moore brings experience and versatility, the kind of player who can help fill the void left by Brown without having to carry the entire load by himself. The combination of Smith as the number one and Moore as a reliable option creates a reasonable foundation for the offense to function, even without a receiver of Brown's caliber. But here is the question nobody wants to ask out loud. Are the Eagles a Super Bowl team without A.J. Brown? That is the question that will define the debate around this trade for the rest of the offseason. Brown is an elite player in every sense of the word. 3-time Pro Bowler, imposing physical presence, ability to create separation even against the best cornerbacks in the league. You do not replace that kind of player with a snap of the fingers. Every trade has a cost, and the cost here goes well beyond the salary cap numbers. Let's be honest about what the Eagles lose with Brown. Last season, the receiver was a force multiplier in Philadelphia's offense. His presence forced defenses to dedicate extra resources, a deep safety, a physical enough cornerback to deal with his size. And that opened up space for everything else in the offense to operate. Smith benefited enormously from having Brown on the other side of the field. With Smith as the clear-cut number one, defenses will recalibrate their game plans and devote more attention to him than ever before. That is going to be a real test for the wide receiver. Here's the deal. The NFL is a league of adaptation. Teams lose elite players and reinvent themselves all the time. What makes the Eagles different is that they have Jalen Hurts, a quarterback at Hurts' level, with his ability to create with his legs, to make plays off script, to be the engine of the offense even when the pieces around him change, is the greatest safety net any franchise can have. Teams with elite quarterbacks survive transitions that would destroy other rosters, and Hurts has demonstrated over the past several years that he is exactly that kind of quarterback. There is one more element in this equation that deserves attention. New offensive coordinator Sean Mannion. Fowler mentioned that Hurts and Mannion have already connected well during this offseason, and that matters a lot more than it might seem at first glance. A new offense under a new coordinator means the Eagles' attack will have a different identity in 2026. What are Mannion's priorities? How does he think about the use of Smith? How does he plan to utilize Hurts' athletic abilities in run versus pass situations? Those questions do not have complete answers yet, but the fact that Hurts is investing time in private workouts with his receivers says everything about how seriously the quarterback is approaching this transition. You need to understand that private workouts during the offseason are not mandatory. Players have no obligation to show up for these sessions. The fact that Hurts is organizing and actively participating in these workouts, inviting Smith, working with Moore, learning the new offense before training camp even begins, is a clear signal of the level of commitment and leadership this quarterback brings to the table. Hurts is not waiting for the problem to arrive. He is solving the problem before it even exists. What does all of this mean for Eagles fans who are understandably concerned about what lies ahead? It means the organization, from the quarterback to the front office, is operating with a clear plan. The departure of Brown, if and when it happens after June 1st, will not be a surprise to anyone inside that locker room. The replacement process has already begun. Devonta Smith is already preparing for a bigger role, and Jalen Hurts, the leader of this team, is already putting in the necessary work to ensure the transition is as smooth as possible. Are there real risks here? Absolutely. It would be naive to say otherwise. Losing a 3-time Pro Bowl receiver with Brown's production is never a trivial matter. But the Eagles are not a team without talent. They are the defending champions, with an elite quarterback, a powerful offensive line, and a defense that was one of the best in the league last season. The competitive window in Philadelphia is wide open, and a Brown trade does not close that window. It simply reshapes it. With the Brown trade looking more likely by the day, a new offensive identity coming under Mannion, and Jalen Hurts already building chemistry with his new number one receiver, do you believe Devonta Smith has what it takes to replace A.J. Brown's production and carry the Eagles back to the Super Bowl? Drop your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to keep you updated with the latest Eagles news.